So about 3 months ago, I had 3 job offers from different companies, and this was a very stressful time in my life because I've never had 3 job offers, and each one had different rules and stipulations and pros and cons. And I just remember being very confused and stressed out, but I did end up making a decision that I feel very happy with. I also made the decision to make YouTube videos and content in general instead of going back to school for my master's. And that was a very big decision because my family was expecting me to go to school, get my master's. They don't understand content creation. So I kind of made a risky move by this path. But again, I really feel at peace with it. And I feel very authentic and alive. And that's the whole point of this video. I'm gonna show you how to not let these major life decisions or even minor. I feel like a lot of people stress out about minor things like what should I eat, or what do I want to do today, or how should I do something. Obviously they stumble with the major life decisions as well, like should I quit my job, should I break up with my boyfriend or girlfriend. So again, the whole point of this video is to alleviate some of that stress, but ultimately to help you find an authentic answer. So the overarching principle I use to make my decisions in the past and even now in the present is called consciousness. So there's so many different definitions of consciousness, and I'm just going to keep it simple, and it's simply your emotional state. So let's say you're in a continual state of fear. Everything you see is going to be fear-based. So let's say you don't like your job and you're asking yourself, should I quit my job? If you're in a fear-based state, all you're going to see is negative outcomes. You're going to think you're going to fail. You're going to see judgment and shame and guilt from friends and family. You are probably just going to take the safer route and stay at the job you're at. But now let's say you're in a state of courage and very free. You're probably going to quit that day. Or you're just going to make a plan for something else you rather do, execute on it, and then quit. Or you're just going to have so many more options you're going to see and be open to because you're not scared. When you're scared, you're very narrow focused. But when you're free and expansive, you see different opportunities and paths. So for me, when I had the 3 job offers, one had the lowest pay, lowest responsibility. So with that one, I was like, okay, I can take this option and have more time and less stress to make videos, but it would be harder to make videos because I'd probably need a second job. And then the second option had about the medium pay with medium responsibility, but I would have to travel more, so I couldn't make videos. And then the third option had the highest pay and the highest responsibility. So I actually took the job with the lowest pay and the lowest responsibility because I knew it was gonna allow me to do YouTube, because I wasn't scared to not do YouTube. In the past, I probably would have just stuck with the safe route and struggled and hated the job and really almost hate myself because I know I'm making a decision from a place of fear and my authentic self was just being stifled. So I made that decision for the lowest pay and the lowest responsibility, and it's been so nice. It's been fun, it's been liberating, and I don't regret it whatsoever. It feels really good in my body. And when it came to whether to get my master's or do YouTube, the safer route is to do the master's. But the more exciting and authentic route was YouTube. My bigger vision is YouTube. My highest self is YouTube. My fear-based self is going to school and doing that for 2 to 4 years, spending crap ton of money, having a guaranteed job with a medium-ish salary. And I got to the point of letting go of so much fear. I was just tired of it, to where I made the decision to do YouTube because I knew I had to do something other than a fear-based decision. I've also used consciousness to help me decide something minor, like my diet. So I would read a bunch of health and nutrition books and ask myself, okay, what feels right? And with all the information that I've gathered, what feels right? And then I'd make a decision. And when it comes to exercise, I do the same thing. What form of exercise do I like, feels good in my body, that I don't feel like I have to do? A lot of times we do things because we feel like we have to do them, or we want approval, or we're trying to avoid rejection. So I know when I was first learning spiritual teachings and reading a bunch of books, yoga was common, right? So I felt like I had to do yoga to be spiritual, but I was like, I don't really care to do yoga. I still do a couple poses or asanas here and there because they help relieve tension from lifting, but I enjoy lifting. My most authentic self is just seeing growth in my strength in my muscle, or just trying to lose weight and get leaner. That is the highest, most authentic version of myself. So now that you understand consciousness a bit, let's understand how to guide it, right? How do you let go of the fear-based thinking to really receive and let your highest self out and expand? So first, realize how much time and energy you've spent in fear and anxiety. Your life is very short. If you were to look at where you are now and where you were 5-10 years ago, you're probably in a very similar state, because a state of being is familiar, and we tend to just stay in situations that are familiar. Those situations are emotional, so internal or external. We may feel the same feelings, but also attract the same people, have the same habits and addictions. So first you kind of have to leverage and let go of this fear. And the way to leverage it, or to have a perspective on it, is to realize how short your life is, to realize how much time you wasted, and just to say enough is enough. To basically almost move into a state of maybe anger. And from anger, you're like, you know what? I don't want to feel like this anymore. And I'm going to do this just to do it. So for me, I struggled so long with getting really lean because I would fall back into the same addictions with food and binge eating and looking up new content and diets and constantly changing. Instead of just sticking to something and just seeing it through, I always had to change because I would get excited by a change, but I knew that change wasn't going to lead to where I needed to go, or it wasn't going to be the best path for my authentic self. So I got to a point, I got to my fattest. I weighed 240 pounds on January 1st of 2021. And I got to a point where I was like, enough is enough. I don't want to feel or look like this. And I made a decision from a place of anger that I was going to have a six-pack by my 21st birthday. And sure enough, I did that. I did it in 7 months. I lost 70-something pounds in 7 months, got super lean, and now I'm even leaner than that. I'm as lean as like a professional athlete. It was because I leveraged that fear with anger. You also have to realize fear is going to cause you to make a decision that is most likely going to be wrong. So when you're in a fear-based state, that's when you're most vulnerable to get-rich-quick schemes, right? Like, oh, how do I make money? Here's a get-rich-quick scheme. How do I lose weight as quick as possible? Here's a 7 steps to lose 70 pounds in 7 days. Marketers know how to market to fear-based people. They understand consciousness and what's going to sell to that consciousness. Someone in a higher state is going to hear that info and be like, yeah, that's definitely not the truth. But you also have to not shame or guilt yourself for being vulnerable to marketers. Because you didn't know better. I didn't know better. I fell for marketing when I was in the diet culture. Oh, if you do keto, you don't have to count calories. So I did keto and didn't count calories, and I would gain weight or not lose weight. And I was like, okay, this doesn't work. But once I found out the truth of what works, which is literally just counting your calories, being a calorie deficit, it's science, it's proven to work. I realized, oh, okay, I cannot judge or shame myself for the mistakes I made. So if you're in a fear-based state, you're vulnerable to marketing, but also you're going to be vulnerable to taking in information that doesn't understand the context. So if you just YouTube a video like, should I quit my job? Someone will be like, oh yeah, quit your job. You need to quit your job and go hustle and do some other side project or pursue your dreams. But hold up, that may not be the best decision for you and your circumstances. If you have kids and a family, maybe it's best to keep your day job but also work on something on the side. Or if you're able to, take less hours and work on something on the side. So again, if you're just YouTube a video and should I quit my job and watch a couple of videos that tell you, yes, quit your job, that may have worked for that person, but that person's situation at the time may be different than yours. Without negative emotions, all we have is the positive. So once you learn to guide, release, neutralize this fear, you need to do whatever you need to kind of shift this fearful energy into a more peaceful energy. And that's all that will be there when you kind of let go of this fear and learn how to process it and move it. All that will be remaining is the positive. Energy is very dualistic, meaning there is fear, there's courage, there is anxiety, there's peace. So if you just learn how to move your energy, you can get into a different state. And from that state, you will be more receptive to different answers. And most likely what will happen, you're going to view this question you have or this decision you have to make as kind of like a joke. You may even laugh at it and be like, why was I stressing out about it? This is, I think, the positive of, I hate to say it, but drugs and alcohol. If you look at your situation, your question that you're asking yourself while you're high, you're probably going to laugh at it and be like, why am I stressing out about this? Right? So this is what consciousness does. So drugs and alcohol bring you to a more lighter, free consciousness. But you need to ask yourself, how can you obviously do that naturally? Another way to guide or shift your consciousness to be in a more peaceful state is learn to be okay not having an answer in this moment. Like, do you need to know whether you're going to quit your job this moment? I didn't need to know what job I was going to pick for quite a while. And what I actually did was work a couple shifts at one of the other jobs to see if I like it. So the highest paying job, I started to work there for about a month. I worked 1 or 2 shifts a week just to see if I would like it. Because, I mean, the money would have been nice. And with the money, I could have spent more time making videos. But I realized like that didn't feel right. So that's another part of learning to guide or shift your energy. Your intuition, your most authentic self is going to come out. When you're in a very contracted, fear-based state, your authentic self isn't able to be expressed. But also when you're in a contracted state, you're not able to allow in more information and answers and examples. Another thing is just to be patient. And just once you're okay with not having an answer, you'll be more patient. But also, if you understand just to be patient, you'll be okay not having an answer and realize an answer will come. We don't ever say like, I need to be hungry, right? Like often we say to ourselves, like, give me an answer. What should I do? We don't go, I need to be hungry. We let hunger hit us and then we ask ourselves, okay, I'm feeling hungry. What do I want to eat? It isn't something we're trying to like chase or get an answer to. We have a very nonchalant, no big attitude to it. And sometimes when we're hungry and we ask ourselves this question, we get distracted because we really don't care that much and we don't eat for a while. We're able to prolong our hunger. So learn to guide and shift your energy and your consciousness whatever way feels right to you. I know for me, it's just asking myself, how do I feel? I breathe into any tension in my body and relax. And I do this over and over and over again. Or I'll go to the gym, or I'll actually meditate for a very long time, not just do a breathing exercise. Or I'll actually just watch TV, anything to shift my consciousness a bit to make me feel okay. And then now from that state, I ask myself, what do I want to do? What feels right? And I notice from a more surrendered, expansive, peaceful state, I tend to pick the option that has a more exciting path. But exciting for me is going to be different for you. So maybe the safe path is the best thing for you, and don't judge yourself for that. But maybe the more adventurous path is also right for you. Again, don't judge yourself for it. You only live once. I really think the biggest takeaway besides helping you make a decision is really helping you alleviate the stress about making a decision so you can feel at ease in this moment. Again, I hope this helped, and until next time.